Hi, welcome to the Heather Penny Podcast Show. We are so excited to have you today. Let me tell you a little bit about who I am, what I do. I'm a leadership coach and trusted advisor. I get to work with amazing people all over the world, and I get to learn from them. And we get to learn from one another, honestly, as we move into more clarity, more confidence, and more courage. We're going to be spending time talking with people who are facing challenges that are probably very similar to what all of us face. I believe we're all going to start recognizing ourselves in these people who are sharing. So I'm eager to have you join our conversation. And my hope is that you'll have something that you take away from this that will give you more clarity, more confidence, and more courage to go live the life that I know you are only made to live. So we have a guest today. His name is Joe, and I'm very excited for you to meet him because he has spent a lot of years working on his clarity, his confidence, and his courage. And I've gotten a front row seat to it. So I'm really excited for you to hear a little bit of what this has looked like for him. And I'm quite sure you will resonate with pieces and parts of his story. So let's jump in. Hey, Joe, I'm so excited to have you on our show today. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. So excited to be here. Thanks, Heather.
Oh, you're so welcome. For you listeners out there, you're in for a treat today. Joe and I have known each other for, good grief, Joe, how long? Years now?
Yeah, I think we were calculating it back. We've known each other for probably 10 years or more. But we've been working together through coaching for 6 years. So.
Oh, what a blast. It just for fun, tell our audience where you are calling from.
Oh, I'm calling from Saudi Arabia. Yeah, we've actually been over here for 6 years. So you made the transition with me, Heather, virtually. Yeah, we've been here, been really happy.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit of what you do over there.
So my wife and I are both international teachers, and we teach at an American school for a big oil company called Aramco. And it's a wonderful place to work, great work environment. And we live basically in like a 1950s suburb where the kids rule the roost and they can just ride their bikes anywhere. And I love it. The school's like the center of the town. So everything we do really feeds into the community, and we really are just kind of like that lifeline.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. And you've worked as an international educator several places too, right? Where else have you worked?
Yeah, we've worked in Hawaii, Egypt, and then now Saudi Arabia has been our longest stay. So it's been a while. Yeah.
I think I've been with you in, I think all those places. I think we started in Hawaii, then we moved to Egypt together, and then we moved to Saudi together.
Yeah. Totally. We've been through a lot of the transitions and growth through everything. I remember. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's start there, Joe. I mean, clearly you called me from Hawaii and we're moving, and then I remember a lot of intensity in Egypt. And I was like, oh, please get out of Egypt, because I remember the bombs going off at that time. There was some civil unrest.
Yeah.
So why don't you take us back to why you called me, where we started working together, and we'll kind of start there.
Yeah, I think the first conversation I had with you, at first, Sammy, my wife, she started working with you over the years and months in Egypt, more intensely. I think in Hawaii, we got connected, and then in Egypt, it really took off. And then I was kind of in a place where I was like, okay, do I want coaching? Do I need coaching? What can it do for me? And everything. And then we started really connecting toward the end of our time in Egypt, when we were making that transition as a family. And I think that through a few conversations with you, you were really instrumental in helping us to move forward towards Saudi Arabia. And yeah, so I think that's where we started. And then when I hit Saudi Arabia, we kind of hit the ground running, and I went into it with what I wanted out of the relationship and the coaching. And we've kind of taken off from there.
Yeah. I know we've had so many conversations, so I'm going to ask a challenging question.
Sure.
If you could narrow it down to maybe kind of one, maybe problem area. And again, we're trying to give our listeners just a sneak peek into some of our conversations. And I appreciate you being so vulnerable and open and transparent. And I knew you would be such a great guest to have on our show. But give our listeners just kind of an idea of what brought you into coaching and I think how you move through that challenge.
Yeah.
Kind of start there.
Yeah, sure. So I think what really inspired me to want to be coached by you was your faith and how strong it was. And that really inspired me to connect with you and gave me a lot of just respect. And when you let a coach into your life, you're really letting them into your heart and into your mind and what you believe and what you think. And so for me, that those were the check marks. Do I respect the person that's going to pour into me? And do I respect their faith background with how they live their life with integrity? And, you taught me in college, and then, we picked up with coaching, and I just had a lot of respect for you. And that's what really inspired me. I had no idea how much ground we would cover and how much I would grow through the experience, but it's been phenomenal and, life-changing for me. So if I could narrow it down, I think what coaching does is it helps you trust your inner voice. It helps you trust that what you have is a gift to the world and it's what people need. And I think, one thing I was thinking about was your book is different than any other book because I'm going to just jump right into that,
Go ahead. I'll take the plug.
Sure. Your book is different than any other book because what I've learned from coaching is that it's a process. And so a coach doesn't do a quick fix. That's not what it's about. It's about a process and a journey of growing and changing the beliefs that go on inside your brain that some people never even hear or know about. And, your book really, I know it's narrowed down to a book, but it's a lot more than that that's going on. You can read through 16 pages, but really that's to me, that was months of work in my own personal life of what I had to kind of go and change and grow through. And that's the difference between your book and every other book that I've read, because I've always been about personal growth. And there's a lot of personal growth books out there, and they try to give you like a formula for how to do it. But your book is more about, the process of what it takes to get to that life of thriving. And I think that's what I appreciate about it. And then I've had the coaching, so I know, I know what it takes. And it's a very vulnerable process, but one that if you allow it, can really allow you to grow that inner voice inside yourself and begin to trust it.
That is awesome. I got to circle back to this question, and I love doing that, right?
Yeah.
You said this powerful phrase, your gift to offer the world. What's your clarity, Joe, in your gift to offer the world?
Yeah, I think that my gift is encouragement, being a person who sees connections between all people and all things. And then bringing peace. I've taken a bunch of personality assessments, and those are the things they tell me. It's like you're someone who believes in connectedness. You're someone who believes in peacemaking. You're someone who believes in encouragement. And I think the ultimate thing is believing in the person that I'm working with. I've chosen a profession to work with students and to work with teachers. And, I believe in the ability of them to live the life that they want to live. And, that's what's been so inspiring through this whole coaching experience is as I've gotten to live the life that I thought was unreachable, I'm able to kind of give that away. And it's such a beautiful thing to be able to have that. And that's given me a lot of confidence in what I do.
That's awesome. I have to add a fourth one. I heard encouragement, connectedness, peace, but I got to add a fourth one, and it's got to be joy. Because it's some of our darkest moments. We have found something to laugh at one point or another, or we've let ourselves laugh at ourselves or at one another, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Humor's got us through a lot.
Yeah. I think we've worked together so much that your laugh is ingrained in my brain. Like sometimes I hear it without actually being on the call with you. You know what I mean? We've had a lot of good moments. Yeah. That's been something that's been beautiful. And that's again, something that's beautiful about your coaching. So,
yeah, I think one of the things that we both appreciate about one another is you can't take yourself too seriously.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh my goodness. Hasn't that been a work? And you know me, like perfectionist standards and all kinds of things I used to put on myself. And now it's like making that space for grace and for, you know, the ability to be imperfect and to be okay with that, and like be more gentle and empathetic to yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's so easy to give those gifts away to other people, but it's hard to do it for yourself. And so I think that's been a huge landmark in my growth personally, for sure.
Yeah. So let me circle back around with these gifts, because they are such a gift to offer the world. And I love it. I've seen your confidence grow. Once you get clarity on what your gifts are, and then you get confidence to actually show up with your gifts, right? And then you get
Yep.
to actually take the risks that you need to take. So
Yeah.
one of the things I've really walked with you a lot in your coaching and with everybody is, once we identify the gifts, man, we zero in on what might be blocking those gifts. So give us a little couple thoughts on that, of what are some things that have blocked your peace? What are some things that have blocked your ability to encourage one another, even your joy and your connectedness?
Yeah, I know this. So things that really block you, if I could make it really simple for everyone, is simply, we have in our brain true beliefs that are going on. Those are things that bring us freedom, bring us joy, help us move forward in life toward the goals that we want to achieve. And then we have these like false beliefs that float around in our brain. And sometimes we say them without even recognizing them. And that's been one thing that's been very instrumental through actual coaching sessions with you, is that when I tell you my story of what's going on week to week, you're able to clarify and help me see, is there a true belief in there? Is there a false belief in there? And how that might be stopping me. And so that's what I would narrow it down to. It's true beliefs and false beliefs, for sure. That's what I've worked the most through. And for me, I think the best way to describe this is I was thinking about a false belief that I have, and I wanted to just present it to you live, and see what your feedback would be. So as I'm telling you my story, when we spoke last time, my situation, but just to narrow it down again, is when I was growing up, I had an authoritarian father, and I felt I always had to be perfect. And when I wasn't perfect, it wasn't good enough. Mm-hmm. And then that became the voice that I started to hear, and kind of put onto and push on to other leaders in my life. And now when I'm in a situation with a leader where I feel like I was imperfect, I feel like there's no space for me to be vulnerable enough to grow in the moment. And so the false belief there is, I have to be perfect in front of my leadership all the time. And if I'm not, then I'm blowing it. So what would be a reframing that you would say, as a coach, how can I reframe that to give myself that grace space in those moments when I'm in live action with my leadership?
That's an awesome question. And I'm going to hand it back to you.
Yeah.
Because I want your inner wisdom to come out, and I want you to feel the confidence of that. How would you reframe it?
Yeah, I think the beginning thing that's the most powerful is owning it. Mm-hmm. I think you have to own it. And then I think there needs to be some practice with putting words to what you're feeling and thinking. And as you can communicate that more clearly in the moment, I think that clarifies things for other people around you. And then being brave enough to admit the fault or the mistake that you made, and then claiming and taking the power back and saying who you want to be. That's what I would think.
Awesome. And and I think all our listeners are going to get to hear us do our thing here. You say, yeah. I give you a nice little tiny handle here. And I would say the true belief would be something like, I get to learn from my mistakes and become better from it.
Yeah. In front of anybody.
Yeah. Then it counteracts that false belief of, I have to be perfect in front of my leadership and get it right, or I am failing and disappointing. Mm-hmm. And that's a typical false belief I hear from so many people. My goal is to not only help you identify the false belief, but then to really step into that space that says, wait a minute, I get to choose my mindset here. And I think what I get to do well is I just give you the tight little handle. Sometimes people will talk and talk and talk, and I go, oh, here's what I'm hearing is the true belief. You get to learn from your mistakes. And I am thinking of your last example, right? Where there was this pressure. You did misstep as a leader. Did you totally fail or blow it? No. Did it feel like you failed or blow it? Yes, because you were operating out of that false belief, right? That said, I got to be perfect for this leader. And I said, wait a minute. You don't have to be perfect for this leader. All you have to do is just say, oh, I'm learning from this and I'm on a steep learning curve because I'm doing something brand new for the first time. Right?
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But that's basically what we do. We work through those things. And I think the power of it is, again, is what you do all the time, which is you hand it back to me. And as I think through things, I get more clarity. And as I think through things, I claim those true beliefs over my personal brain and mind and heart. And then over time, that changes me and my mindset. And I think that's the gift, right? Because when your mindset is right, when your mindset is not right, but let's say healthy, when your mindset is healthy, you are able to do so much more and you're capable of so much more than any problem you could ever present to your coach or, counselor for that matter. You know what I mean? Like anyone in your life that you're trying to work something through with. So I think that's the powerful thing. And that's what I've grown. And that would be my message to people is like the most powerful thing I've gotten out of our coaching is the trust I have with my inner voice. And now I'm at that point where I know what it takes to have clarity, right? You got to have rest. And what are the things that make you rest? Okay, for me, it could be worship songs. It could be journaling. It could be going on a walk in nature here. Those are the things that give my soul real rest, not watching the movie and avoiding things, but, things that really make me feel that clarity and that creativity comes back and that curiosity for life. And then you move into those confidence things. And when you work through your true beliefs and you work through those on a daily basis, like you've taught me, takes 5 minutes a day for 3 months and you can renew your mind, you know what I mean? And the way you think about things. And now I'm kind of at the point where I start to recognize my true beliefs and my false beliefs. I'm practicing these things. And now I'm finally getting to the point of courage where I'm starting to take these risks and thinking about and moving into and taking interviews for leadership positions instead of just, limiting myself and thinking just have to be a teacher my whole life. Maybe I have more to offer and, through leadership. Yeah. And so I feel like that's where I'm kind of at now. And that's kind of like where I'm at in the book too, is I've really taken my time in that middle section on confidence, that middle C. And I'm just starting to bridge into that courage and what it takes. And now that I have that space of grace and I don't have to be perfect. And as you can hear, I'm still working through it. But now that I have that, it's like, okay, you might not be perfect, but you can reset and you can get back in the game faster. And then faster and faster and faster until it does get to that where you can do it in the moment. And I think that's the process,
Yes.
And those are the most powerful people that have ever impacted my life. Or the most powerful moments are when leaders can own up for what they did or didn't do. And then they change. And when you see someone change, man, that is so powerful in your life,
Yes.
And believing that people can grow and change is huge,
Yes. And I have to link it back to, so that false belief is just going to keep blocking you because you're not even inspired by those people anyways that are trying to be perfect, right?
Right. Yeah, totally.
Those of us who are just authentically showing up, messing up along the way, giving ourselves grace, giving each other grace, and actually learning from it, identifying false beliefs and true beliefs and getting better from it. How hard has it been? Well, let me put it this way. And this is totally unapologetically going to be a leading question.
Yeah.
But how hard is it to listen to your false beliefs versus your true beliefs?
Wow. That one's difficult. I think as human beings, if we're being honest with ourselves, those false beliefs, man, they come from childhood. They come from things throughout our life that just connected to the way we think. And, they stick with us. And it's amazing how sticky they are. I put it that way. And moving into a true belief, here's what it feels like. It's too good to be true. Mm-hmm. Like right when you have a true belief, the first thought that goes through your brain is, this has got to be too good to be true. And then part of you hopes right away, and you're like, but what if, what if it is true? And then you try it, and you try it on, and you're like, wow, this feels good. All of a sudden your energy comes back, your creativity comes back, your courage, your confidence, your clarity is free flowing, when you're walking in those. And then when you start to live them out long enough and you start to see the impact and the way they affect your life, I think that's when you start to believe. And then you're changed. You never go back. I would say. And I think that's one thing you've taught me, is to take those risks, because you got to be a risk taker in coaching. You can't sit stagnant. You got to move in and press into those true beliefs. And when you have a true one, again, it feels like it's too good to be true, but it's not really the case. You can live those out. And I think that should give people hope, because that proves within itself, not only is there neuroscience research, I'm no neuroscientist, but like your brain can be renewed. An old dog can learn new tricks. And like so much of that is coming out in the teaching world. As I'm reading every book about the brain and how it functions and how it works, you can always learn something new. And so I think that's the same for these true beliefs, except it's more powerful because it changes your heart, and it changes the way you actually feel about yourself. And the more you walk in them, the more people see you're free. It actually is very attractive. People find freedom very attractive in others. So
attractive and threatening.
Oh yeah, it can be threatening for sure. It's like, how does that person have the freedom to like own a mistake in the moment and then move on and forgive themselves so freely? It can be intimidating for people for sure.
Yes,
but I would take that any day of the week, because I know what it takes to be healthy and the hard work that it does to move from those false beliefs and the true beliefs. And anybody can have that. And when you do, it does things. It could save marriages. It could save friendships. It could save so much when we move into those true beliefs, and it could protect you too from people that, are not safe to be around. It does all of those things because it moves you forward toward the person that you want to be,
Yeah. Yeah. So I have to just dig a little deeper.
Sure.
Where are you taking a risk right now?
So where I'm taking a risk right now is I applied for an associate principal role. And so I'd be moving out of the classroom where I've grown very confident and learned how to just be a master of my craft. The thing I love is creating trust between myself and students, because I've never seen a person or a student work harder when they trust who you are, what you do, and that you care intentionally about who they are. When people feel known and they trust you, they work so hard. And that's what I've noticed with students. And then learning just takes off, once that safety's there, it's like the learning just takes off. So now that I'm stretching myself and thinking about leadership, I'm thinking and imagining and dreaming up, what if I could do that for teachers? What if I could create that trust bond and really pour into them, and then help them feel like they belong, help them feel known, and help them be encouraged in what they're good at and where they excel, and that they have a gift to offer this world and that they're offering it, and how to walk in their clarity, confidence, and courage. That's what I'm dreaming up right now. And it's exciting. I just recently got an interview that I'm going to take. I don't know where it's going to go because I don't have an administration credential, but I'm willing to put the work in if I need to get that master's degree, and I think I'm just going to share that openly because, that's where I'm at. I put that in my resume, so they already know, you know what I mean?
It's out there.
It's out there, it's out there, but it's exciting. It's exciting, Heather,
Yeah. Yeah. And the true belief you're reaching for that helps you take this risk.
That I have a good heart, and I have a heart that I want to offer to this world through an act of service. And to me, that's leadership,
Excellent.
Leadership is definitely an act of service. And
Mhm.
I'm at the beginning stages of starting to trust my inner voice in my heart. And I'm starting to see that, what I think is actually needed and unique and helpful to help humans flourish. I'm not an expert in a lot of things, but I do believe I can help people grow to become better human beings and versions of themselves. I feel I can confidently do that.
That's beautiful. So let's end it with this, because I want to end with leaving our audience with something. Okay.
Sure.
And we're gonna, me, I want to go to the positive. We could write books and books on anxiety and depression and fears. And you and I have had many, many conversations about that, right? And the false beliefs.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We'll leave our audience with this one. What is it that you do that really helps you anchor into your true belief more than anything?
I think it's the commitment to stay in them daily and to let them really into my heart. I think we can say things in our mind sometimes, but never really let it into our heart. And I think that happens through repetition and through time and through believing and trusting. I think trusting, if you don't have the courage to trust, get a coach who can help you trust in those true beliefs. And then once you have the courage to trust on your own, then starting to speak them over your life really changes you. And when you stay with them long enough, you start to believe. And then you get to my point where you're like, all right, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to go try to be an associate principal, see where it leads, and just go for it. So I think that's what it is staying in those true beliefs daily. And we're not perfect. We're not going to do it every day. Come on, let's be real. But when we need it, if we return to it, it'll be there for us. And taking the time to get clarity on those has been life-changing.
That's awesome. Well, Joe, it's been a pleasure for me. Sometimes I feel like it's a little selfish of me. I get coaching from you half the time because I just learn a ton about what it means. Probably half the book has some sort of relevance for you and probably the conversation we've had over the years, huh? You probably see yourself in a lot of those, huh?
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, for sure. You start to recognize it everywhere. Yeah.
So thanks so much for joining us today. And again, it's always a pleasure. And I cannot wait for our next conversation. And I can't wait to see where your confidence is going to be taking you. And honestly, where your courage is going to be taking you. And honestly, whether you get the job or not is still the smaller story unfolding, right? The larger story is the fact that you're coming into your own and you're trusting that you get to offer this world peace, encouragement, connectedness. And I'm throwing in that fourth one, joy.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Heather. It's always a joy to speak with you.
You too. Take care, Joe.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
So I'm really excited to let my listeners know that I've written a book, and this book is about 3C living. And what that means is clarity, confidence, and courage. Don't we all want a little bit more of that? This book is really a labor of love where I've collected so many amazing stories from around the world. All of us have a story to tell, and all of us can learn from one another. I wanted to share these with the hope that it will serve you in your life as you move into more clarity and more confidence and more courage. So my book is available now for pre-order. You can go to my website at heatherpenny.com. And I think what's kind of exciting about it, these next several weeks, that if you go ahead and do a pre-order now, we've got some great gifts that we want to give. And we've chosen these gifts from places that are ethically sourcing things in our world. So we are excited to give some of these gifts away, and we're excited to be supporting organizations and groups that are trying to move humanity forward. And we want to just honor those of you who are eager and jumping in to sign up now. So you can go to my website, heatherpenny.com. And on there, you can do the pre-sale. You can also sign up for our email list where I give lots of free coaching away and try and make sure that I don't flood your email boxes too much, but I give you something that is a good takeaway for the week. Thank you so much for your support and for listening today. I hope you've gained some insight, some new wisdom, or even just got affirmed on what you already know to be true, so that you can move into more clarity, more confidence, and more courage in your own life. Take care, everyone.